Okay, so this video is going to go over section A1, which is just a review of solving equations from Algebra 1. And so remember, we have some different steps for solving equations. Let's change colors. The first step you always want to do, the first step you always do is you always try and distribute and combine any like terms that are on the same side of the equal sign. And so here, I'm just going to distribute there, and I get 2x minus 6. I don't distribute to the 5, so I bring down the plus 5. And then I bring down the 18. So there's nothing else to distribute. Now I'm going to look for combining. And for combining, I can put a negative 6 with a positive 5, which is a negative 1. And so we're not actually going to solve all of the problems. We're just going to do the step that it says. That way we have some examples. All right, for this next one, we're going to distribute. And I have to distribute the negative. Well, that's a thick marker. It's too thick. Okay, so I'm going to distribute the negative. Distributing the negative, some people like to write a 1 there, so they realize that they're distributing by negative 1. So I bring down the 4x because there's nothing to do. Negative 1 times 5 is a negative 5. Negative 1 times negative 2 is a positive 2x. Bring down my line with the equal sign, 3x plus 6. Now I combine like terms that are on the same side. The only thing on the same side is these two that can go together. 4x and 2x is 6x. Bring down the minus 5 and bring down the 3x plus 6. So that's what distributing and combining like terms will look like. The next step we want to do, step 2, is when we move the variables to the left or the right. I tend to always put things to the left because I want to do the same process so that kids get used to that process. Some of you might be comfortable moving the variable to either side. So you need to do whatever you're most comfortable with. So I draw my line down. I got to move this 8x over here to get rid of a positive 8x. I subtract it. And remember to keep things balanced. You have to do the same to both sides. And so I can't put it under the 6 because x's go with x's, so I'm going to put it here. And so I get negative 4x. Didn't do anything with the 6, so I bring it down. 8x minus 8x is gone, and so it equals negative 8. Same idea here. I'm going to move this minus 3x to the left. To get rid of a minus 3x, I add it. And again, x's go with x's, so I put it under the x. And that's a 1x, so that's 4x minus 2 is equal to 4. So step 1 is distribute and combine. Step 2 is to get everything to the left or the right. All the x's, I mean, not everything. So you just got to move your variables to the left or to the right. Once you have that, now you get to the basic operations, which are pretty good, is by doing the inverse, which is the opposite operations. And remember, you move what's not touching. So for this one, I got to get x by itself. So the number that's farther away is the 8. So to get rid of a minus 8, I'm going to add 8 to both sides. The 8's cross off. So I have 2x is equal to 18. And to get rid of a times 2, I'm going to divide by 2. So remember, probably remember, but just in case, it's been a while, when a number's touching a variable, that means times. And so the way I get rid of it is a divide. I don't write this sign that often. I usually do a divide with a fraction. All right, over here, same idea. I'm going to try and get x by itself. So that means I need to get rid of the 4 and the 5. The number that's farther away is the 5, so I'm going to subtract 5 on both sides. 5 minus 5 is gone. So x over 4 is 5. And now this says x over 4. Over is not an operation. This is actually saying x divide by 4. So the way you get rid of a divide by 4 is you multiply by 4. And if I multiply the left by 4, I multiply the right by 4. A 4 on the top and a 4 on the bottom cross off. So you're left with x is 20. Okay, so those are the 3 basic steps to get through most of the equations. But the other thing that we're going to have to do is you're going to have to do some fractions. Okay, I don't want you to avoid fractions. I want you to get comfortable with them. I'll teach you ways that get rid of them right away. There's two types of fraction problems. There's fraction problems like these top two, where you notice there are bigger divide by signs. You see that? Those are bigger divide by signs than down here. That means that something on top is all together, and so that whole thing is being divided. All right, so we're going to treat the process the same. When I have a big divide by sign, I have to get rid of that bottom number first. So the way I get rid of a divide by 5 is I multiply. But here's the thing. This whole thing was being divided by 5. So I just cross off that 5. I do not distribute. And so I get x plus 3 is equal to 40. And you know how to solve it from there. Over here, I still have a big divide, but you notice this 4 is kind of away from it. So to make the process easier, I'm going to go ahead and move that over. And now I need to get rid of this big divide. So to get rid of a divide by 3, I times by 3. Those 3's are gone, so I'm left with 2x minus 4 is 33. The most common mistake I'm going to have here is that people are going to distribute and make this 6x minus 12, or maybe make it 2x minus 12. But remember, your goal was to get rid of the 3, so I want you to actually cross it off. All right, these next two are a little harder because there's a couple different things. So let's see, draw my line down. I can't really get my x's to the left yet because this one's a fraction. I think what most people are going to want to do, they're going to want to get rid of that fraction first. So the way I get rid of that fraction, to get rid of a divide by 4, I multiply by 4. Usually you multiply the left and the right by 4, but there's two things on the left. So that means I need to multiply both things on the left. Just like there's two things on the right. I need to multiply both things on the right by 4. I was trying to get rid of that first 4, so it's gone. So I'm left with x plus 12 is equal to 12 plus 8x. And now you have a problem you know how to do. You're going to minus 8x on both sides. So you get negative 7x plus 12 is 12. Subtract 12 on both sides. And I'm doing this one because it's kind of a special case, and I want to make sure you recognize this. It's 0. You can have 0. It's okay to have 0. But I divide by 7, and I still get 0. So when you get a 0, don't freak out. That doesn't mean you've done it wrong. Okay, so let's look here. This one's a little harder. So first of all, you notice it has two different denominators. I say let's just get rid of one at a time. Let's get rid of this 3 first. So I'm going to times by 3, times by 3, times by 3, times by 3. And so I get 15. Okay, so when I'm timesing by 3, it's just like putting it on the top. And x times 3 is 3x. And then I'm not doing anything to bottom. What I'm really doing is I'm doing times 3 over 1. But we don't usually write the 1. So just remember, when you times, you're putting it on the top. But this 2 was still on the bottom, so I put that there. 1 times 3 is 3 over 2. And then these 3's, that was my goal to get rid of them, so they're gone. So now I've taken care of that one fraction. I've taken care of the 3. Now I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm going to get rid of a divide by 2. Whoa, that's big. I'm going to get rid of a divide by 2 by multiplying each thing by 2. So 2 times 15 is 30. Now let's go over here and look at this. What I get here is I get 3 times 2, which is 6x over 2, which is just 3x. Some of you might recognize that there's a 2 on top and a 2 on the bottom, so you can cross them off. So you can look at it this way, or you could do the math 3 times 2 divided by 2. It's going to give you the same answer, just you have to do what works best for you. So right here, 3 times 2 divided by 2. Oops, and I forgot the x right there. and then you solve the problem. So fractions look tricky. I know a lot of you will skip fractions, but we need to get used to using them and not being scared of them. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about was the 3 different types of solutions. Let's change, purple. Okay, so there's 3 different types of solutions. All the problems we've had so far are one solution where you get x is equal to a number. It's any number. Sometimes you're going to have a no solution and an infinite solution. A no solution and an infinite solution happen when both variables, or not when both variables, but when the variables cross off. So an example would be 2x plus 5 is equal to 2x minus 7. When I subtract 2x on both sides, they disappear. So that tells me it's either a no solution or an infinite solution. A no solution is a 0 with a line through it, a slash through it. That means a no solution. An infinite solution is called all reals, and it's you draw 2 lines and then you make it into an R. That means infinite solutions. The way you get a no solution is if you have a false statement. So our example here, this is a false statement because when I cross off the 2 x's, I end up with 5 is equal to negative 7. 5 does not equal negative 7. So this is a no solution problem. An infinite solution problem is going to be a true statement. And that's when you're going to get something like 5 is equal to 5. And an infinite solution statement means that it doesn't matter what number I have, when I plug it in, I'm going to get a true statement. I'm going to get something that works. Okay. All right. So these are the different steps. I'm sure that you remembered a lot of them. I'm sure the fractions were a little tricky, but if you have questions, make sure you go back and watch the parts of the video that you think you might need.